My gift was £100 to charity in the 1980s. And how we got that money was we got it through a sponsorship scheme. And some lad in the pub said, you know, if you get this sponsorship card, you get £100 and I give it to charity to give you a free parachute jump. So, what could go wrong? So, you know, everyone in the pub said, yeah, we'll do it. Then whittled down the tree, everyone else bottled out when you actually got the cards, you know, start getting sponsorship. Whittled down the three of us. It was me, Declan, a fellow I played football with, my friend Charlie. So we got the cards and we started asking people for sponsorship money, and it was back in the 1980s, you know. You know, you had to get approval. Well, not approval, but I asked my dad, I says, I was living in the house with my brother and sister, younger brother and sister had emigrated to Jersey. There was not much money around. I said to my dad, you think I should do that parachute jump? He goes, yeah, you should do it. What that meant. I was annoying him in the house all the time. Anyway, but, it was in the 1980s, and getting money on people was very hard, you know, because everyone I knew was on the dole, you know. And if you were on the dole back then, you had to have a job to supplement your income. You had a job to supplement your income, so you're in the pub anyway, and one bloke says, we gave Deco £1 for that charity last week. I'm not giving you £1 for them as well. So it took us months to get it. Like, we got it in the end, like, it was £100. Submitted the money, they gave us a date with Destiny for a parachute jump. So the day was Saturday, the 30th of July, 1988. I always remember that day because the next day we had a ticket to go and see Michael Jackson down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Because he was only doing 2 concerts. One was that day, the next one was Sunday. He wasn't doing concerts anywhere else in Ireland. So he said, we make a weekend of it down there to the Irish Parachute Club down at Punchestown Racecourse. And then the Sunday then we go to see Wacko. So me, Declan and Charlie went down in the morning time at 9 o'clock to do the lessons in my old courier van. And we had friends coming down in the afternoon. Another Declan, Olga and Sheila come to, and my girlfriend Deborah to see us jump out of the airplane. So we got to the clubhouse anyway, and your man brought us in. He had this flip chart, and here he was. Right. And one bloke to me, right, I never forget him. He goes, well, if your parachute doesn't open. So your man goes, well, you deploy the second one. And I went, what's deploy? You deploy the second one. I'll strap to your stomach. And he says, and you know what he's going to ask next, your man? Right, well, if the other one doesn't open. He says, look, 1,000,000 to 1 chance, that's not going to happen. And your man wouldn't give up. Oh, Jesus, he goes, if the first one doesn't open, how long do you have to open the second one? He says, you have 12 seconds to open the second one. She said, what if it's 13 seconds? Your man goes, well, then you'll be killed. There was no laughter there. Everyone lighting up the cigarettes. No. And then 4 or 5 people, I'll never forget this, stood up, look, this is not for me, sorry. And they left, they didn't come back. That was it. So your man goes, also, he used to sign a waiver. So what's that? He says, to say that the Irish Parachute Club have no responsibility because when you jump out of that airplane, you are on your own. And the young crowd today, it's yo-yo. You're on your own, right? So, and then he says, that's it. And he says, you have to be on your... There was no such thing as tandem jumps in those days or anything like that. So, another hour with the flip charts. Light cigarettes. Went outside, he says, you'll be jumping out of that. It was like a little small car. There was 4 places in the back, no seats, and up front 2, the pilot and his mate. And he says you have to climb out under the wing, hold on to the bar, stand on the wheel, and throw yourself off backwards. So he made us stand up on boxes, and he says, Knees bent, feet together. Bro, there's two things he didn't have in the 1980s. One was health, the other one was safety. Right? Gave us a fucking pair of old overalls and a pair of work boots. Yeah, good to go. And then he says, we have a problem. I says, you have a fucking problem. He says, the problem is there's too much of a breeze and we have to call her off for today. Hold on a minute, we're going out to see Wacko Jacko tomorrow down in Cork. He says, well, you want to stay around? You can. So everybody left and we stayed around. Me, Declan and Charlie stayed around for another couple of hours. He says, right, it's died down a bit. He says, you want to go? Yeah. So we tooled up, all the gear on, helmets, into the back, took off up to 2,000 feet. I always remember he kept saying, 2,000 feet, 2,000 feet. Then he opened the door, he couldn't hear the thing with the breeze, and he tapped me on the shoulder. And I said, what? He said, you know. And I says, ask him. And he says, you're nearest the door, get out. The fucking flying out. I throw myself out backwards. You know what Mike Tyson says? You can train for months, and once you get hit in the face, all your plans go out the window. When I jumped off that thing, my mind just went blank. I could see the little circle they were talking about that you had to land on. I could see Punchestown race cars. I could see the parachute club. Blew off about a mile. Right? And the parachutes I found out were their World War II things that they used in the D-Day landings. Right? Round things, not like the rectangular ones you use today with the aerodynamics and all that. Like, you had a toggle here and a toggle here. You turn that and you turn, right? I landed backwards about a mile away. And I says, right, I'm grand. I looked at my foot was facing the wrong way. So in shock, I twisted it back. And when they found me, he says, you all right? He says, yeah, twisted my ankle, I'm fine. A man lifted me up and he done this to his mate. And I go, what? He goes, no, look, we have to bring you back. No mobile phones. Bring you back to the clubhouse to call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. And I says, where's it going? He says, nice. I says, no way. He says, I'm going to see Michael Jackson tomorrow. So I said to me mate, Deco, he says, you don't drive. Do you drive much? He goes, no, I don't drive. And those two, not a bother, and they landed fine. So he says, I don't drive. I said, you drive us back to James's, will you? And he goes, I can't drive. I says, give it a go, will you? He says, fucking stop my man, he said. So off he went, and we all live around, me and friends, we all live around in Rialto, James's Hospital, so we know James's Hospital is a no-go area on a Saturday night. So it was like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan. Right? So you don't go to Jambo on a Saturday night. So we went to the Meath Hospital, we just closed down now. So we got there, and your woman says, oh, no. She says, you won't be going anywhere. She says, you have a broken ankle. I said, all right. So she says, oh, look, I'm in real pain. I said, any chance of morphine or something? She said, yeah, no problem. She gave me the morphine. Felt a bit better then, you know. My girlfriend was with me, Deborah, and Declan, the fellow who drove. We drove up. I don't know how we made it. But we got up. He brought us up to the ward anyway, and the porter that was bringing us up, the morphine kicked in. The porter that was bringing us up, big, heavy Scottish guy. So you look like Robbie Coltrane. The morphine was kicking in. He goes, yeah, do I? So he grabbed me up. When we got up to the ward, he reefed me out of the trolley and into the bed. I went, yeah, take it easy, pal. He says, yeah, see your girlfriend and your mate, they're going home together. You were stuck here. So, unwanted gifts. The next morning, I got 4 pins in my ankle. And then another unwanted gift came in by courier during the week. It was from the Irish Parachute Club. And it was successfully completed. Parachute. I go, no, that's a lie. So, so that was it. And then I had a holiday booked to go to Jersey, see my brother Jimmy and my sister Miriam. They were living in Jersey. No insurance, so I hobbled to Jersey and London. And then when I got back for the next 3 months, I was on crutches. And when I was going into Warwick Street every week, when they were asking me, did I have or was I seeking gainful employment? My answer was no. So, thank you.
Brian O'Connor, everybody.